Can you recount what happened on that day?
Yes. So our workshop manager, who prefers not to be on camera but does many invaluable tasks around the Hazel Village workshop, was doing some quality checking, as she does, of the batch of Leonards that we had received and were imminently preparing to launch. And as part of that, she got his wing wet. I was standing in the kitchen, I think I was making tea, and she like stuck his wing under the faucet and got it wet. And immediately noticed that the blue part was suddenly very visible on the underside because it had soaked through. And there was like a beat where she like looked at it and I like looked at it, and then she was like, and she like ran all the way around the corner and across to the other side of the workshop to talk to Jocelyn, who was our director of operations, and she like held it out and was like, "We have a problem."
I got to work. I come in late on Mondays, so I got to work, went straight into our meeting, and I sit down and Jane says, "Oh boy." And I went, "Wait, what happened?" And Jane looks at me and says, "Oh, you don't know." Jocelyn just lays out like 3 sad blue jays and is like, "The blue jays are bleeding." And
I deleted all the footage because I was just like, well, don't need that anymore. Which I guess I'm sort of grateful I did, because I'm pretty sure I got a clip of the moment.
I think I was in the bathroom crying.
I got a shot of all of the like bleeding blue jays, and it pans up to Raquel and she's like,
the feeling of sheer panic that I was holding in.
you know, maybe we don't want to relive that.
So we kind of went through like what our options were, and then I left the meeting. Well, I immediately texted my mom, who I had preemptively given a blue jay to, because my mom is a huge birder and she was turning 70. So I got her a Leonard that had a 70 embroidered on the chest. And this is the benefits if you're an employee, is you get to do things like that. So I immediately texted my mom and said, "Do not get your blue jay wet." So there is one not safe blue jay out in the world, and it is my mom's, and she has been instructed on the care and keeping of her blue jay.
Oh, remind me,
Yeah.
how many days before Leonard's launch was this?
Well, we had posted the first hint that day, I believe. And there were supposed to be 5 hints, I think.
We're planning on doing 5 hints that were Leonard's Guide to Project Management. Which, side note, when we came up with that, the 3 of us were giggling nonstop.
So we had posted the first hint, we found out that the blue bled, and then the next day we posted, "Hey, sorry, there's not gonna be a hint today, bear with us" message. And it was on April Fool's Day, which was a real problem, because we were like, we knew we couldn't post, like, he's not gonna launch next week on April Fool's Day, because everyone would think we were messing with them. And it was already, we had to put a disclaimer on the post that was like, "Hey, there's no hint today, this is not an April Fool's joke." And a couple people were like, "Thank you so much for specifying that, because I would have thought that it was."
I remember my first thought was, well, that stinks, because those hints were so hard to take. It was so hard to get Leonard to sit in his little chair at the right angle and getting the tree in focus, and it was a lot of work. So I was like,
I think we were all just immediately like thinking, okay, how bad is this? How widespread is it? Like, is this an emergency level problem, or just another bump in the road kind of a problem? Which stuff comes up all the time, you know, that we have to like figure out.
Had him ask a friend for help was his hint, and he asked Jeremy very kindly to model the parts of the Industrious Projects collection that were originally Leonard's collection and became a new smaller collection without a new animal. And Jeremy very kindly agreed.
there's a lot of like kind of locking in as a team and discussing all of our options. So it was also like very, in a way, like encouraging, because I think we've built up a lot of good crisis management skills as a team, and so this was a good reminder of that.
We worked with our artisan partners in Nepal to find a new blue fabric, and now 2 months later, the Blue Jays are here, and he's finally launching, and he doesn't bleed.
You know, everything worked out, and I knew that everything would work out in the end, and I think we're happier than ever with the way this guy turned out.
We actually reached out to the supplier who gives us our organic cotton fleece, all of this normal fabrics that we use, and he said, oh, actually I have a slightly thicker fabric than what you had originally spec'd, but it comes in a lot more colors than what we have originally for the like lighter weight fabric, and they had many shades of blue, and it's actually been great because now Jane's been super excited about what we can achieve with like this new fabric supplier, and it is almost exactly the same. I would say it's a little thicker, and it has a slightly tweedy texture, so you can sort of understand how the fabric is made by looking at it, which I think is really cool.
I sure do love this guy, and I'm glad he's finally here, so that's all I have to say.
Leonard, what do you think about the whole situation? Interesting. All right, that's some good insight. All right, well, we're glad you're here, Leonard. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Okay.
All right, so I have Raquel and Lily here, and we're going to talk about sort of the design behind the whole collection.
I have cut up pieces of the original design board. Whenever Jane and Sarah are designing the collection, it all goes on one big piece of paper. But because of the way that Leonard's changed, it is reflected in physical form.
Granted, to be fair, oftentimes Jane will, if an item gets cut, Jane will just cut it out with some
She's
scissors.
very not precious
or
about
she like
them, yeah.
scratches them out, and we're all sitting there being like, no, Jane, don't.
But anyway,
Yeah, so this is what remained from the original PLM or
Weird.
project.
we call it a PLM. I don't know what it really is.
It's sort of an inside joke.
Yeah, that we call it a PLM.
Yeah, because in PLMs, in like, not real companies, because we are a real company, but like in more formal production capacities are like these elaborate documents that have all of the information you might ever need about every single product.
Yeah.
And these are ours.
But they do have a lot of information.
They do have a lot of information, like it has like fabric, colors.
Yeah, like what does this say? Window pane shirt pattern. We use the same shirt pattern of our window pane
Pumpkin
shirt.
seed print.
Pumpkin seed print.
Was this right before Dana went on maternity leave? We're definitely sampling Leonard in the fall, maybe even late summer. Because we're always thinking 6
Way
months ahead,
ahead.
sometimes even like up to like a year and a half ahead, which is insane. Yeah, so we were working on him, and Jane came in one day and she had the design, and we said, what's he like? And she says he puts the log and sticks in logistics.
Yeah, it's written right here. Yeah, and we've been using that line a lot.
Yeah, Jane doesn't realize when she writes key copy for us, and
Yeah.
it's things like if you look in any of our marketing, Lily wrote a lot about his interests, and Jane wrote here, interests include moving piles of rocks, sand, sticks, etc. Really puts the log and sticks in logistics, crochet, and crunchy snacks.
Yeah, I just put a poll on our Instagram so people could vote which of Leonard's interests they shared.
And we have crunchy snacks today for lunch.
Yeah.
We do.
We have Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
We're now in a new location because the sewing machines are really loud.
Yeah.
Leonard would not be mad about that. He'd be like, that's just the way it
You'd be
goes.
like, sometimes you have to change your plans.
Yep.
Yeah.
And adjust.
Just like it kind of makes sense that this would happen, this whole...
It's very ironic. Yeah. Also, yeah, we were talking about this a lot with, I I just love Leonard's personality. Like, I feel like Leonard's whole vibe is very encouraging. Like, he's very much...
That's true.
But he's not... He won't, like... he'll be very upfront about the reality of the situation, you know? Like, he wouldn't be like, no, everything's fine. He'd be like, okay, so we have maybe a problem, something we didn't see coming. That's okay. Would have been better if we found out earlier, but we know now, and we can... make a plan for how to move forward.
And like in his story it says like the best time would have been last week, but the second best time is right now.
Leonard's story is like maybe my favorite story Jane has ever written.
I feel like it was a premonition.
Yeah, in a little bit in a slightly scary way. Yeah.
What we did was we kept 3 pieces. We kept his would become his core outfit, so the seed print, so this outfit, and then we also kept the hat because it was a very Blue Jay forward hat.
It matches the shape of his head.
And it matches the shape of his head. And so it felt important that it launched with him. Jeremy Owl is a very confident model, but this didn't suit his features quite as well as it would have suited.
Not that it didn't look great on him.
It did look great on him, but
it looks
we
the
really
best on
decided
Leonard.
it would look the best on Leonard.
Also, it's his favorite hat. It has the tinfoil appreciation.
Oh, it's wearing it in his postcard, and
With a
here
ball of
he has
tinfoil.
a ball of tinfoil, and he's like picking dandelions.
Yeah.
This is the postcard, but it's a cropped postcard, so this is a real behind the scenes.
This is Jane's original painting.
This is the original painting.
What will become the postcard that will be sent with every Leonard.
Originally in the design, Jane had written.
Jane had written about how Leonard is really interested in obscure weights and measurements, and we originally were going to make a book. Jane was originally dreaming that he would have a little book.
A little tiny book.
A tiny bit, because we love to make tiny books here at Hazel Village. And we ended up the tiny books are a lot of work, and so.
But
we
Lily did do a fair amount of research,
yeah.
but then like we looked at the timeline.
We were like, we can't make it happen.
And we're like, this isn't right.
But then when we needed another thing to add, someone, I don't know who, someone was like, what about one of these little doll-sized bandanas that we've made?
We were
in the
thinking
past?
about Peter Badger and his
Neckerchief.
Fearless Badger
Yeah, 'cause-
neckerchief. And I think we had just finalized the design for the turtle neckerchief that we launched a couple weeks ago.
They're very handy. They're very like multi-use. You could also just have them be like wall art. But anyway, it just worked out perfectly because it was a place to put all that information about weights
And
and
so
measurements.
Sarah did like this incredible design that I have been taking full advantage of, because she just like, you can, if you look closely, and I wouldn't recommend using this to measure because fabric has a stretch that a normal ruler or like even measuring tape doesn't have, but it is true to scale.
Yeah.
So each of these, like this is an inch and these are centimeters, and like these are also like fractions of centimeters.
So you could use it in a pinch. If you're just like, if you carry it around in your bag and you need to quickly like measure, I don't know, a shelf to see if it'll fit where you want it, it would do. And it has all of the definitions of everything around the edge, and then Sarah illustrated a little picture for each of them, like figure 2, barley corn, a unit of measurement for the length of a barley grain, or 1/3 of an inch, used in shoemaking. And then I think hoppus foot is really interesting. Figure 4 is hoppus, a volume measure for a round log to determine timber output. 1 hoppus ton equals 50 hoppus feet.
What
And
you
it's-
learned yesterday, sorry, this is not about the
How dare you cut me off when I'm talking about the hoppus foot?
I was thinking about the buttons next
the
to
buttons.
it. The buttons one is the one that we actually use the most,
Yeah.
because we design our own buttons here at Hazel Village. And so a lot of the time Jane will turn to me and say, hey, we need an 18L button. And I never knew what the L stood for, and it stands for line.
With a G.
With a G, L-I-G-N-E.
L-I-G-N-E.
I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's
talking
okay.
about
I was just
this.
going to draw advantage to how it's an interesting thing.
Leonard, good morning. It's time to go to work, to go to Hazel Village. Look out the window. Wait, I gotta turn this on. Oh, what a beautiful morning for Leonard.
Oh, there we go.
I filmed the last one in slow-mo, but look. See, there's us. And we're sending all over the world. Oh, here we go, go to England. Oh, there we go, go to the UK. Oh my gosh, how fun. Oh, we got someone in South Korea. Cool.